Hi folks, I'm Darryl Markowitz and you're here in the Wareham Forge. What you're looking at is going to be a brief guided tour of how I set up the heart of my operation, which is a 10 by 15 room that actually has the primary forge in it. What I'm going to do is give you a fast panorama and let you kind of see the way I've set up the equipment here. Now there's two pieces of equipment here at the Wareham Forge that would make up the heart of the operation. The most important of these is what you see in front of you right now, which is a 225-pound London pattern anvil. This is a fairly large anvil, and although I originally had started working with a 180-pound Peter Wright, I actually found the smaller anvil was too small. I do a lot of work out on the horn with structural shapes, and I was actually rocking that anvil back and forth. Now, if we look at the way this anvil is actually physically mounted, you can see that it's set on top of a 16 by 16 pine block. And that block actually travels down into the floor a full 4 feet to keep it from shifting around. The other piece of equipment that's quite important to the Wareham Forge is this large coal forge. It has a cast iron firebox and an electric blower controlled by a light dimmer switch plus a sliding gate, which you can see on your far right hand side. Very important for me was trying to make sure that I had good ventilation in the shop. And to that end, I've got a counterweighted hood that rises up from the center of the forge, straight up in through the roof. Above that is a set of large blowers, squirrel cage blowers, that grab the air and throw it out through the wall. Now making a fast pan through the workshop, standing at the door into the heated, clean workshop where I do finishing work, the first thing you see is a wire wheel set up on a frame so I can easily replace the motor. Next to that is a propane heater to heat the Canadian winters, and my gas forge, which, as you can hear and see, is in the process of warming up for today's work. Behind the gas forge, you can see my main workbench with the mounted 5-inch Blacksmith vise, small wood stove in the back corner. You can see how close the anvil is set to the actual forge and the vise. In the back corner, next to the forge, you can see the slack tub. Again, close at hand when working at the forge. If we drift over to the opposite corner, you can see my small 50-pound throw air hammer built by Blacksmith David Robertson for me. And next to that, my grinding bench, a cone mandrel that I can roll out into the floor of the shop when I need it. You actually see 2 of them there. And that large metal surface door actually opens off into the main part of the workshop. Part of the reason that I have that black and metal surface is that I can draw the design for work directly on that door. And in the far corner, if I can get my chest out of the way, you can see my setup with my belt sander for finishing blades. Now, one of the things you can see that with the way I have this anvil set up, it's a relatively short distance from the forge itself for me to take a bar of work and begin hammering on it. Similarly, I can just reach out and grab something out of the gas forge and just pull it straight back to work on the forge, on the anvil. One of the problems with this particular setup is the distance you see from here to here, which is about 2.5, maybe 3 feet. Originally, I had set this anvil up when I was doing a lot of settlement era replica ware, cookware and things like that. I also do a lot of work working back towards the front of the horn. This allows me to stand off to one side. A more conventional arrangement would actually be to rotate the anvil 90 degrees to the angle of the forge, but that wouldn't let me get access to the front point of the horn. It works back this way. So what you see is a fairly standard triangular arrangement between the forge, the anvil, the vise, also with the slack tub close at hand. I got a mere 3 steps to go into the back corner to take a heavier piece of work towards my air hammer.